are going to look at starting officially the groundwork portion of Rarely's training. So I think we spent a total of 3 months and 2 weeks on all of the basic handling tasks, with relaxing at halt and trailer loading sort of being the two tasks that took the most time. So when we're shifting to groundwork, we're going to start working with more motion and more issues related to balance. But before we can work on improving movement, coordination, or balance, the first layer of groundwork is always sort of finding the learning frame of mind in motion. So I'm actually starting with what I consider lunging. We all call it lunging, but I call this lunging part 1. And because we spent some time with the exercise spending pent-up energy, where she could change direction, she could go fast, she could go slow. I basically did nothing. It was sort of like Liberty with a lunge line attachment. We worked on that quite a bit until she could choose to come to me, choose to connect with me, and halt. So I don't expect, and I've got a loose horse in here too, we might have a little photobomb session, and hopefully the Pivo doesn't pick him up. You go on, Herx. Go on. You go on. Uh-oh. The camera might get confused. Oh, Hercules. We need that camera back. Go on. Go on. Uh-oh. Okay, we're going to have to come in here and steal the camera focus back. Come here, Rarely. Let's see if we can steal it. Come on. I know you want to hang out with Hercules. Okay. Now we go back to our lunging. I should have locked Herx up while we're filming this. And the first layer of lunging to me is what I would call building a circle at the walk. So if she chooses to trot, even if she blows up a little bit, I would just reel her in, stop her, start again. If she tries to change direction, this is the beginning of where we're building a circle to the left and we're building a circle to the right. But if she cuts in, I don't correct it. If she halts, I wait, let her make that mistake, send her forward. So this is pretty good. So I just keep adjusting the length of line to feel when she makes the circle bigger, when she makes the circle smaller. And my primary objective today is I'll just do, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes to the left, 10 minutes to the right. If she just continues the walk, for today's session, I'd like the walk to be a tiny bit more relaxed. I'd like to see her lengthen her neck a little more rather than shortening it. She's pretty much got her focus on the task at hand. And in this 10 minutes, we'll sort of see if she gets distracted, if she gets reactive. This is all sort of up to her. And Herx is on the move again, so hopefully we don't lose the camera. So this is pretty ideal. She's not choosing to change direction. She's not choosing to go faster than the walk. And she's not choosing to stop a lot. So this is the beginning of just sort of looking for the learning frame of mind, relaxation response, in the walk to the left. And if she keeps doing this well, I'll give her just about 10 minutes this way, and then we'll try the other way. So even with the distractions, Herx, I'm going to have to lock you up. Let's see if the camera follows. Rarely. Yay, it did. Excellent. So I think of my connection through the lunge line is the beginning of my rein contact. I don't want it too tight, but I don't want the line hitting the ground and getting too loose. What I do with my body, with my feet, is like my seat in the saddle. So the first thing I do when I begin lunging is I pick my spot in the center so that the horse can begin to develop a circle around that center. If she falls in, I'm going to feel slack on the lunge line, so I'm going to shorten it up a little. If she pulls out, I'm going to feel pressure on the lunge line. I'm going to just let it slide out. She can kind of weave in and out as long as she's just tracking left. Right? I think of the whip as my leg aid when I'm on the ground. So my leg is in a neutral contact when my whip is down. And if she halts, I'll lift the whip. Or, which I won't do today, if I were going to bump her up to a trot transition or a canter transition, I would lift the whip as a leg aid to get that upward transition. So all I want to see today is that in 10 minutes each way, that she just walks. And if I've done all of my basic handling part well, this is about how lunging part 1 should go. It should be pretty simple, right? And it's pretty hot today. I had to rinse her off even before we started. So she's not dripping with sweat. That's actually water from a rinse off and should dry as we go if she stays relaxed and doesn't get too sweaty. So this is ideal. There's nothing I need to do. I can just sit here and observe and let her not only find calmness, feel safe in the walk to the left, but maybe even start to think about finding comfort in the walk. So in these kind of unsupported exercises where we do more observing and less directing, it kind of simulates what horses would do in nature. Just a long, relaxed walk is how they find their balance, how they improve their coordination, because better mechanical coordination is always more efficient and more comfortable. But our domestic horses never really have to walk for long periods. We're either trotting, cantering, exciting them, or doing nothing. And this lunging part 1 to me is just about relaxing in the walk, to the left, to the right, as a precursor for all the other things we're going to do to work on balance. So I'm still primarily focused on her energy, body language, posture, all of that indicating that she's more in a relaxation response than she is in a stress response. And this mare has been high anxiety. She has a high flight defense reactiveness. So there's just nothing better than a nice long walk to spend that extra energy in a positive direction. And she has issues with her spine. She has some lameness issues. So this is also a gentle way that isn't going to make her lame while she's just learning to think in motion. So that's about 5 minutes. We'll give it a few more minutes. We can just see the ears coming halfway out, the inside ear pointed to me pretty regularly. She starts to slow down her walk a little, lengthen her neck a little, and just relax. And if she starts off this well the first 10 minutes, what this tells me is maybe a session or 2, maybe 3 of just doing this. We can start to play with trot transitions and maybe even canter transitions. Again, with the first objective, just being a calm walk, calmness in the trot and in the canter. Just so we're not trying to pull the lunge line out of my hand, avoid, change direction, all of those sort of defensive moves are what I want to see or what I don't want to see. So I just want to see this. And this is something we can't do too much of because we're just looking for the relaxation response in the walk, in the trot, in the canter, to the left and to the right. And she may take a whole 30 minutes to really fully relax in the walk, to the point that she really keeps her neck long, starts to blow, lick and chew. All of those things would be just a slightly deeper state of relaxation. And Hercules wants to get in the trailer. I think he smells all the treats that are in there. Let's hope our camera keeps us. Oh, good. Go on, Hercs. Go on. Ooh, not that way. Okay, we might lose our camera again. Come on, Hercs. Go on. Go on. And we're going to have to steal our camera back rarely. Hang on. I know. You're going to go up there, turn around. Whoop, 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 whoop. Come on, sweetheart. I know, but we got to get the camera back on you. You're the rock star right now. Okay, we got the camera back. Lesson learned. No loose horses. At least not this close. Stealing the camera angle. Good, so even with that, she picked up her pace a little bit. Got a tiny bit anxious, but really held it together at the walk. And for her, that's really a big deal. Oh, Hercules. Oh, Hercules. Hang on, Bubba. Okay, Rarely. We might have to redo this whole lesson. I can't believe she's still walking and not blowing up. Not even trotting. Kind of on the verge of trotting, but so far so good. And I totally forgot, in the summertime, I open the riding area to my first horse paddock, so whatever horse is in that paddock can go through the gate and come out here and eat down the grass in the riding area. And I completely forgot to close that little gate and lock Hercs in while I'm trying to film. So please pardon. I hope I don't give you motion sickness with all the camera angle changes. But there's our 10 minutes. Okay, so now in order to change direction, I'm just going to gradually keep shortening the lunge line, making the circle smaller and smaller until she halts. Right? Then I'm going to get on the other side of her, and I'm going to put the whip on the other side. So I'm sort of closing one direction and opening the other. If she tried to change direction, or if she does, that's exactly how I would bring her back to me and then send her back on the direction I was asking for. So far, she hasn't tried to change direction. She's only stopped once, and she hasn't broken into trot. So this is pretty perfect. This is very good as a beginning groundwork exercise. And all I would like to see, the reason I'm going to repeat this a few times before I ask for trot or canter, is I would just like to see her relax a little bit deeper in the walk. So that would change her posture. It would kind of bring the energy from this little bit of rushy, tiny bit of anxiety, not really, but she's a little quick. She looks around a bit, and she's just a tiny bit, you could say, either tense or anxious. So as her body language changes, as her energy changes, as she starts to focus more on what she's doing, that would be what I would consider a slightly deeper state of relaxation. And in the amount we're filming today, I probably won't find it in 10 minutes on one direction and then 10 minutes on the other direction. So when I quit filming, I'll go back the other way and give her an additional 20 minutes, and then I'll give her 20 minutes this way. Or I may just stay on this direction for 30 minutes or even the rest of the time. So if the horse is breaking to trot, stopping a lot, trying to change directions a lot, then I can do one direction for a whole hour. And then the next session, I can do the opposite direction for the whole hour. It just depends on how easy or difficult walking a circle is when we're starting the early stages of lunging. But if the horse, like if she broke into trot and it looked safe, I could allow it and see if she could bring herself back to walk. If it started to ramp up quite a bit, or she started really bolting or bucking or something like that, then I would just slowly shorten this lunge line and kind of reel her in on a smaller and smaller circle until she could get herself slowed down. But this is excellent. So even with all of our little interruptions and sidetracks today, she's really showing a lot of self-control at the very least, and gradually relaxing a little bit more and a little bit more the longer we go. That's the best I can ask for. And then I wait until she's a little bit better at it. There, that little shake was a sign of a little deeper layer of relaxation. And I'm sweating just standing here in the sun. It is quite humid today without much of a breeze. Let's hope our photo bomber doesn't come back through in front of the camera. So I also just kind of let all the extra lunge line fall to the ground. I'm careful it doesn't wrap around my legs, but I find I'm quicker and easier keeping a consistent contact on the lunge line as she pulls out and I let it slide. I don't close my hand until she hits the end of the lunge line. Then if she cuts in, instead of letting the lunge line get loose, I just sort of pull it behind me and just keep the same light tension on the lunge line, whether she's cutting in or going out or whatever she's doing. Yeah, so this is pretty excellent as the first step of lunging. And like I said, I'm going to give her a couple of times. I'd like to see a little bit deeper state of relaxation before I introduce faster gaits of trot and canter. And most people think because she's anxious, because she's zippy, because she is high energy, that trotting and cantering would be better to do first as a way to spend that energy. But ironically, when we ask horses for faster speeds like trot or canter, what that actually does is increase forward energy. It increases excitement. So when she chooses to halt, I'm pretty slow to correct her because that to me is a sign of calmness. So when horses break gait or choose to halt, we usually have quite a bit of calmness, and we can counterbalance that and build some energy by using upward transitions. If we have a horse, let's see if our camera stays with us. Go on, Herx. If we have a horse that is prone to go too fast, that breaks into trot or canter before we ask, then time at the walk and halting counterbalances that energy to restore calmness. I know, just come on the inside of him, my little bookends. Let's see if the camera stays with us. Herx, I know, you're next, but you're kind of photobombing. Rarely, you're taking Rarely's thunder. Whoops, okay. So there's a change of direction. Nope, we lost the camera. We got to go get the camera first early. You guys are getting a huge view of the property. Following Hercs around. All right, let's see. That gave us the camera. So there's our finally breaking into trot. And you can see she changed direction while I was trying to get Hercs out of the picture. So all I'm going to do is, without wrapping the lunge line around my legs, I'm just reeling her in slowly. Here we go. That took away the trot, and I'm going to get back on this side and send her to the right. So I don't lead the head. I actually get near the shoulder on the side I don't want her to go. And when I lift the whip, I'm creating a block between my body and the whip that says, don't go this way, which opens the door for the other direction. And if she had trotted but hadn't changed direction, it certainly wasn't super excited. I could have just let her trot a little bit and then come back down to the walk when she's ready. But now we're back on track, and before Hercules comes in and steals the show again, we're going to wrap it up. And then my plan for for today's session, maybe the next 2 sessions, is just to really get a little bit more relaxation in the walk on both directions. And I don't think that'll take long, but that's our first objective of lunging, is a nice calm walk before we add speed. Before we want more energy, we need a little bit more relaxed place to start from. So at the end of my lunging session, when I'm done, I do the same thing. I sort of coil the rope slowly, and I just start gently shortening the line. She's going to make the circle smaller and smaller, and I actually want her to feel a little bit of pressure on the halter until she stops. Good girl. And if she's a little bit close, I can just ask her for a tiny bit more space. Well done. And then we might just do that mental focus exercise if she's a bit distracted. And I can wait at halt again to calm the energies. So that's all we're going to do today, and then we're going to build on that. Sorry for all the photo bombers, you guys, and the interruptions. Always makes for an interesting video. And we'll catch up with Rarely again later.